Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, it's the first show of the new year. Happy 2022 to all our friends out there. We're looking forward to another great year here at North Fulton Business Radio, and we are just so grateful for you and all your support. You're the folks that make it work for us, so thank you, and keep up the great work and the business enterprises you're involved in. I just want to remind you that if you're looking for the best bank in Georgia, I've got a suggestion. It's Renaissance Bank. That's not my opinion. That's what Forbes magazine says. Well, I will say I love Renaissance Bank, and I love them because of the great work that they do for me and my clients. I think they're big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them, but small enough to do it in a personal way. So if that sounds like something you want to check out, go to renaissancebank.com and find their local office. Some 200 around the South were ready to serve you, and be in touch. And I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. Now I want to welcome Richard Grove, and Richard is with Wall Control. Richard, welcome.
Thanks, John. Glad to be here.
Hey, it's great to have you.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about you and Wall Control. How are you serving folks out there?
Sounds good. Yeah. So Wall Control, we're a family-owned and operated brand of best-in-class, best-selling wall-mounted storage for pretty much any need, from tools in the garage to pots and pans in the kitchen to the craft room. Anywhere you have an empty wall, you can put some Wall Control and optimize your space a little better.
And get organized.
Exactly.
I love it. So I think people are familiar with pegboards, I think what they call pegboards or what have you, right? I mean, but they're used to seeing pegboards in the auto shop, in the a wood shop, what have you, or someone's garage. It goes well beyond that in your world, though, right?
It does, yes. And so the way we started, if you go way back to the 60s, we're a tool and die shop and sheet metal stamper. And so we, just by nature of the messy, oily materials we work on, that press board, old pegboard, just doesn't work well. You get oil on it or any moisture and it warps. You put any weight on it at all, the holes wear out, the hooks fall off, yada, yada, yada. Everybody knows, pegboard's shortcomings. So we created a metal pegboard system for ourselves, for our own shop, and it worked really well. And in the early 2000s, we saw a lot of our kind of bread and butter work either going offshore. A lot of it was going to Mexico, and we own none of that tooling. We run production for tons of folks in the automotive industry, aerospace industry, pretty much anywhere there's stamped sheet metal. We have done some sort of work in that space. So all that to say, someone would call and say, we need we want all of our tools on a truck tomorrow. Sorry, we love you guys, but we gotta send them offshore to save some money. So basically, we realized we needed something that was never going to leave our shop and keep our employees busy, tool makers working, revenue coming in. So we were like, this Wall Control we didn't know it was Wall Control at the time, but this metal pegboard system we've come up with works pretty well. So we took some time, we refined it, built tooling, pursued a patent, got the patent, and spun up an entity around what had already worked for us. So, and began taking it to market.
And this was when in your corporate history?
Yeah. So this was 2002, 2003.
Wow.
And then, but we were, we're a small business. So, people were wearing a lot of different hats. And so this was kind of a side project. It was something you picked up when everything else was slow. So to get started, it wasn't like we just, had some like Series A funding and hit the ground running. No, it was bootstrap, driving to Las Vegas to go to trade shows. Like it was a lot of work. So, I was working at the time, I was still in college. And my background is mechanical engineering. That's what I went to school for.
Okay.
And so I would help out in the summers and, winter breaks and whenever I could get back. And so, I graduated in, 2007 and went to work for the Department of Defense as a mechanical engineer for the C-5 Galaxy.
Oh, wow.
And my plan was I always wanted to go back and work for my family, but I needed to do something for, I wanted some other experience. And so it was an awesome job. I loved it, would have kept doing it. It was really rewarding and just a lot of fun. So I did that for a year, and then wall control was it. We had a little warehouse. It was about 2,000, 3,000 square feet, and a warehouse employee who's did a great job. And basically my dad just, handwriting orders. We were literally like writing UPS addresses on the labels. Like it was an order a week maybe, so that kind of thing. But it was getting to the point where this was 2008. So again, the economy started to falter again, with the housing market and all that. So it's like, It was a bad time to go to switch careers, but I felt like it was what I should do. Like I needed to do that for my family. I wanted to do that, took a pay cut to leave a nice engineering job to go, work on something that couldn't afford me kind of thing. So anyways, I came in, and my dad and my granddad are brilliant tool and die makers and great engineers themselves, but their expertise is not in taking something direct to consumer. It's not building websites. It's not marketing. It's none of that. So that's where I was able to, and I really enjoy that. That's my favorite part of my job, is that piece of it. So I was able to come in and, kind of start doing these things that we weren't executing very well on. And then we started seeing some really solid growth. So 2008, 2009, getting it up off the ground. And then 2010, we've really been growing ever since. So we've gone from, me and a guy in a warehouse to we've moved, I think wall control, I think it's 3 times we've moved. Well, technically, if you count expanding the second warehouse we were in, so it'd be 4 times. And now we're filling up every bit of a 55,000 square foot building.
Wow.
We're having a sublease space elsewhere with another partner of ours that actually we'll probably have on the show, Hang Time Store. They do custom printed wall control panels. There's all kind of stuff we can get into with that. But yeah, so we're renting some space from them. And right around wall control alone, employing, 50 to 60 people. So across our manufacturing plant as well as our own warehouse. So
that's awesome. There's a lesson in that. It sounds like you took the time to, as you made that transition from 2002, when this kind of bubbled up, right, to 2008, 9, and 10, to really figure out, make mistakes, right? And make mistakes with low risk.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But figure out the market and figure out what made sense before you really rolled it out.
Yeah, for sure. We didn't, we obviously we made mistakes. We, spent money on things that never paid off, that just like everybody does, but we were careful to never, we never went all in on something. We weren't, tried to borrow as little money as possible, especially to experiment with. So, we tried to grow, I don't know if deliberately is the right word, but a sustainable growth. So you can definitely grow too fast. There's Tim Fulton, he was on with he does a great job with Small Business Matters, but he brought up a point that most businesses that go bankrupt had record sales the year prior.
Wow.
It's crazy statistics. So
that is
all that to say, you can easily get ahead of your feet and get yourself in trouble. So, we take all the growth we can get, but we didn't want to over leverage ourselves to, put ourselves in a vulnerable place for a long shot kind of thing. So.
Sure. Richard Grove is with us, folks. He is with Wall Control. Richard, it sounds like to me, and this is a question, so correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like to me you really invented a lot of the markets, or engineered. I'll use that word since you guys are engineers. A lot of the markets that you're now selling to, because when I think of pegboards, pegboards that are made of stainless steel, right? I think of what everybody else thinks of, shops and industrial uses and what have you, but you're now have expanded into other areas like exercise gyms or what have you.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And you've really created demand there, right?
For sure. And a lot of what we do, and the thing about, our show that we're going to have with our guests is we want to be transparent and share some of our playbook and what we do that's worked for us. Maybe it helps other small businesses. But yeah, so we obviously started with tools. And then the logical first place you want to try to sell it is into the garage, like we're talking about.
Sure.
But what we started seeing was, our customers doing really creative things with it and putting it in spaces that we really hadn't thought about, like moving into. So, everybody always says the customer is always right, and that's true, but it means something different than what people usually assume. The customer is always right, but that doesn't mean they have to get a free meal where they're at because they complain. The customer is always right because they'll tell you what they want.
Right.
And so we let them tell us what, we try to pay close attention to it, still do as to what they want. And then we take that a step further too. When we're trying to, plan a new product or roll something out, we'll look at, Google, Amazon search results. We'll see what people are looking for and see if we can place something in front of that. So, kind of reverse engineering, your innovation. So there's a lot of stuff we thought was a good idea that flopped. And then there's a lot of stuff we thought this seems silly that tons of people were looking for, and there really wasn't a great solution for it. It's super niche. Put something out there and it really did well for us. So yeah, we've seen a lot of unique applications, and have tried to learn from all of those and, spin up, sister brands to wall control as well. So gym pegboard is another thing. So,
okay.
We're looking to probably launch a gympegboard.com website this year just to really tailor it to people. So most people, all of our customers, fantastic. Some are like just really good at finding new applications for it. And then there's some folks, they really need to see it doing a thing first before they're going to bite on it. So you could tell them all day long, you can, it's for tools, yes, but you can hang pots and pans on it too. And until that you're selling, a quote kitchen kit, it just doesn't convert. So,
right.
We want to try to meet the customer wherever they're at with, whatever application they have a need for.
And how did those customers how did they find you? I mean, because somebody that owns a gym, let's say, they may not necessarily be looking online or wherever they were looking in a place where they would see wall control back in the day when what you were basically doing were tool and industrial, right? So how did they find you?
Yeah. So, well, we originally grew largely word of mouth, as most, startup brands with no budget go. And that's kind of how it started. And then my focus early on, and it's still obviously a huge point of focus, was on search engine optimization and trying to be where people were searching for. So, we would call, if we just called our panels, well, panels is way broad. Nobody's going to find it with that. So you got to really make it very specific to what they might be searching for. So,
right.
How to hang my tools in the garage, how to store my pots in the kitchen, things like this that you want to be in front. And so then we'd start trying to produce, like blog content that landed those search terms. So really our initial growth was from that. It was just from focusing on our website. We started there, and it's funny because my grandmother built our website. She loves, this is my father's mom. So,
oh wow. Go grandma.
Yeah. She just loves learning. Like she really does. She just never wants to slow down. And so, we were running off of that until, I think I want to say 2016. Like it was, I mean, homemade HTML, like nothing out of the box, like total from scratch. But you quickly realize that's not scalable. So especially with all the, API plugins and stuff you can work with now. So, so all that to say, we focused on the website, built that out, and then, focus on building retail partners because they have a bigger audience than we do, like Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, these websites have massive traffic. So, focused on bringing value to them and their customers, getting in some of those places, and all this stuff we still just layer on top of it and still do today. And then the most recent piece of it, I think, is just partnering with, we call them our brand ambassadors, and they're just our friends and partners that work with us, that they have an audience of really, dedicated followers that they'll share with them, the benefits of wall control and, what it can do. So again, that kind of full circles back to word of mouth a little bit, but that's kind of the 3-pronged approach I'd say that we currently use. We have some things up our sleeve for 2022, some additional, market penetration we're looking to get into, potentially some additional brick and mortar. We've never really focused on that. We're much more, because there's so many options, so many colors, so many sizes, so many different accessories. Everybody's application is going to be unique. It's always lended itself to an online, endless aisle, get whatever you need kind of thing. So, but we've got data now for, almost 2 decades now of what really sells well, what works for everybody in any room. So we're going to be putting together, our bread and butter retail kit, here pretty soon and getting that launched. So we're excited about that.
That's awesome. Richard Grove, folks, with Wall Control. So Richard, let's, I guess, be clear on what you're offering, folks. This is custom. In a lot of ways, right? Yeah. I mean, you've got folks that are coming to you and saying, I've got this specific area, a wall area that needs to be covered. I want that metal to be a certain color or have a certain design, and you execute that. Right?
Yeah, I'd say it's custom, but with standard stocked items. So everybody's space is custom, but we're able to, the other thing too, we've really worked hard with our tooling and how we produce this to drive down costs by being as efficient as possible. And I also want to say, I can't believe I didn't say this before, but we're made in USA brand. I mean, it's probably obvious from the conversation earlier about metal stamping, but we manufacture all of this here in Atlanta. But we've spent over the years considerable amount on tooling to make it efficiently. So, and to standardize it. So basically you're looking at it, it's almost like if you think about it, it's a modular tiling system, with all kind of different accessories.
Gotcha.
The tiles are all the size they are, but you build out your area however you need it, however big, however small. We have, again, there's folks we want to have on the show. Fuller Moto, Brian Fuller, they're our neighbor right behind us. They do the Caffeine and Octane car show. He has the biggest wall control wall. I mean, it is floor to ceiling, wall to wall. I forget how many panels. It maybe 1,000 panels he's got. Our 16 by 32 is our standard size panel.
Okay.
So across his wall, you have that all the way down to, we make a little 2.5 by 16 inch strip that's perfect for hanging keys, dog leashes. There's one of our great partners and brand ambassador mother-daughter projects. They put together like a really, really cool little mudroom setup. So, you have from as big a space as you can think to as small a space as you can consider, putting wall storage. We got you covered.
Oh, wow. Well, that makes sense. So people can take those pieces and put them together, and that's part of the fun of it, I would think.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. People love rearranging, and it's almost, it literally gets addicting because once you start playing around with it, you really see what you can do with it.
Right.
It's hard to explain. A lot of people get it, right out of the gate, but a lot of people, you got to touch, feel it. Most people will order something. We have value kits that are, it's bundled. Everybody loves these things. These are winners. And then as soon as you get that, you're like, oh man, I could use this and I could do that. I could go higher with, and so that's it kind of grows from there. So
I love it. So folks, Richard has been teasing you and alluding to a new show, which is coming. And, that show is, I'll let you, unveil it, Richard, but, new show that, we're unveiling here on Business RadioX. Tell everyone about that.
Yeah, so we're going to be launching the Organization Conversation Radio Show. We're really excited about it. Looking forward to having on all kind of different guests. So we're obviously into organization. It'll be anything and everything organization, even internal organization. So even business structure, things like that. So looking forward to having on a lot of really engaging guests. We want it to be first listener focused, so we want it to bring value to them, be entertaining, funny. What we want people to enjoy listening to it, and then we also want to focus and bring value to our guests for sure. So that'll be our focus for the show, and it's really just like I said, I'm in operations. That's my day to day. That's the main hat I wear. This is the fun stuff. This is what the relationship building. kind of, playing around on the radio. That's fun. So that's going to be the point of the show. We're going to have our brand ambassador partners on, some of our retail merchants, great employees we have. So yeah, it'll be a little something different every episode, and we'll just kind of roll with it and see where it goes.
That's awesome. And so you're going to have feature a variety of your customers, right? And
For sure.
They'll be able to talk about the different ways they use your product.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll have, really creative people who can give some really good insight and ideas to the listener at large as to how you can use wall control. And I should say too, John, we don't the last thing we want is for this to be an infomercial for wall control, this show. We want it to be, it's going to be laced throughout, the benefits, the how-tos. We're going to be announcing early promotional campaigns that we're going to be running. So our listeners will get first crack at anything that's coming up. But again, we want to make it about the listener and the guest. So wall control is just here to support that. So, and that's kind of, that's how we found success, thus far. So
right. Good things happen when you make it about other people.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So talk about, you've done marketed a lot of different ways. I mean, what makes a podcast a vehicle for reaching your customers and potential customers?
Why a
podcast?
Question. That's a great question, John. What makes it unique to any other form of marketing, in my opinion, is that the conversational nature of it. You can really dig into some things. There's a lot of, we have, affordable, easy to install, made in USA, all these bullet points on our website, and you can read them till you're blue in the face, and it's great, and you got to do all that, and that's fantastic. But there's a lot of nuance you cannot get in text or in marketing material. There's a lot of content that can't be produced that way. So without the conversation, especially with your customers and the folks that you work with, your brand ambassador network, there's just so much there that can't be unpacked online in text form, or even in a YouTube video where, I'm just talking till I'm blue in the face about the product. It's not engaging. Nobody's going to tune in to listen to that for 20 minutes. And it's not even that, it's not that it's disingenuous. It's just not organic. It's not a conversation with somebody. So,
right.
We really see the benefit in all of that. So it gives us a way to talk about our product, what we do, in a way that just doesn't resonate any other way.
Well, and that, given the way you've built your business, that makes a lot of sense, because you've really been in two-way dialogue, right, with your customers for years, right? I mean, because you've learned from them and they've learned from you, and you've got that symbiotic relationship that's grown over time. Whereas a lot of companies, they're used to kind of a one-way conversation, what they want to tell the customer, but you've really been doing that for a while. Now you've just taking it to a different format. Yeah,
it's really, if you go back like 1,000 years, look, how did merchants sell stuff? They went to things and you talked in the community. It's like, that's what we're used to having, and you kind of get away from that with just the sterile online, or in-store, whatever it is, traditional marketing. So
right.
You lose that conversation piece of it. And so we're excited because this, speaks to that, and you can just do a lot more with it, I think. So
yeah, for sure. Richard Grove, not only with wall control. See, I left that part out too. I was teasing everyone too.
That was good. You're better at teasing than I am, John. I'm spilling the beans like a minute in.
So. No, I thought it was great. Yeah, because I know everybody was wondering what you were talking about, and I think that's great. We keep them listening. But Richard Grove, not only with wall control, but the host of a new show, Organization Conversation, which we're going to have a lot of fun with, I know. And we're actually going to hit the road. You want to tell everyone about that? To Workbench Con.
Yeah. So we'll be, there's a big show in Atlanta for that. Mostly our brand ambassador partners. They're all, there's all kind of people that come, but it's a conference. And we're a sponsor of the conference. We'll have a booth there. And then John's coming with the Business RadioX, radio in a booth. And we'll be interviewing a ton of our friends that we work with, It's going to be a blast. So, stay tuned for that. Again, these people are more interesting than I am, so they're fun to listen to. So it'll be good.
We're going to have fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. So folks, if you're thinking about Workbench Con, but you haven't committed, now you've got a reason to commit, right? Yeah. Because we're going to have a lot of fun in that booth.
Absolutely. And it's a great, I don't know anybody who's, been, whether it be from the brand perspective or, the attendees who haven't gotten value out of it. So I know it's been good for us over the years. It's right here in our backyard, so it's a hard one to miss for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Richard, this has been great, and we're looking forward to continued growth from Wall Control and continued reports on that front, and also the new show. So we're excited about that. For those that would like to be in touch, would like to know more about Wall Control, tell them how they can be in touch.
Yeah, so obviously wallcontrol.com is going to be your best bet for kind of getting a feel for the brand. I can be reached directly at Richard at organizationconversation.com. On Twitter, Mr. Wall Storage. So yeah, any of those mediums for reaching out. Love to hear from you.
Awesome. Richard Grove, folks, from Wall Control. Richard, thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, John, thanks a lot. We're excited, and thanks to Business RadioX for having us. Looking forward to a fun year.
Yeah, this will be a lot of fun. Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that if you want a new way to bring your team building to, I guess, a way that, avoids twisted ankles and broken arms, my suggestion is A&S Culinary Concepts. Yes, you can stand around a stainless steel table, seasoning meat and cutting vegetables, and have a great team building experience. And that's what the great folks over at A&S Culinary Concepts offer. And they've got a culinary studio, and they do corporate catering, and they do let us cook for you meals too. So if you're interested in those kind of services, check them out. But go to asculinaryconcepts.com or just give my friend Andrew Traub a call, 678-336-9196 to learn more and tell him that we sent you. And folks, just a quick reminder, you can find the past archive of all our shows. NorthFultonBusinessRadio.com is the website, but we're on all the major podcast apps. North Fulton Business Radio is the search term. We'd love it if you would find the show and not just subscribe, but share it. Share it with others that you think would be interested in the products and services that we discuss and the entrepreneurs that we discuss here on this show. We appreciate your support as always. So for my guest, Richard Grove, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.